Hi, my name's Dee and welcome to Sunchild Tarot and welcome to your readings for the full moon in Capricorn, 24th of July. Obviously these readings are meant to cover the 2 weeks, the 4 weeks, or the 6 and a bit months, or just under 6 months, isn't it? From the full moon in Capricorn back to the new moon in Capricorn, which will be sometime around Christmas. I should have looked that date up before I started. So, as ever, it's a general reading. General reading rules apply. Do not give away your power to a tarot reader. In these readings, there's 2 rows of cards. The top row represents the archons trying to suppress you, and the bottom row represents the gods themselves trying to lift you up, reconnect you with the divine. By their very nature, they are dramatic. So take it all with a pinch of salt and just bear in mind that I can't necessarily be reading for everybody. So there is a timestamp in the description below because I'm going to discuss the full moon itself first. But I've put the timestamp there, so if you want to not ignore my waffle, you can jump ahead to the reading. I won't be offended much. But I would say watch your sun, your moon, and your rising. Now, I'd say the moon because that would normally deal with the emotional stuff, but it's a full moon. It's a lunar reading. Go and look at your moon, especially with this one because there's a little something I want to bring up about not just the full moon, but what happens the day before, the day as I am filming this now. Now, as ever, there is a link down there in the description for the Facebook group for this Facebook page for this channel. Basically, it's got an inbox. So if you want to contact me for a personal reading, that's one of the best ways to do it. There's a link tree down there that will take you to all of my different social media, but Facebook's the best way. I am trying to grow the channel, so any subscriptions or pressing of like buttons would be greatly appreciated. And of course, if you haven't caught it, I will be, by the time this goes live, I will have already done a show with astrologer David Fisher, where we're discussing the ins and outs of the full moon in terms of Hellenistic astrology. But I've got some other things that I wanted to point out. Now, I am really, really excited about this full moon. I'm sure there was something else housekeeping I had to say. Now it'll come to me. Oh yeah, you can ask a question before you're reading if you want. I don't think it's the sort of reading where you're necessarily going to get an answer, not like my monthlies or some of my other readings. It's just a general look at the forces that are around for you to take advantage of or dodge, whichever way you want to look at it. Right, so this is the first full moon after the eclipse seasons. Now, if I bring my notes up so I can remember what I'm talking about, this is the degree here is ruled by, I always struggle with these, Yael, who is all about letting go and mental force. But the degree angels, which I've not mentioned on these videos before, the degree angels also control a 5-degree arc each. So this 5-degree arc is ruled by Mabahia, who is about putting thought into action, who is about intellectual lucidity. And Yael is about, as I said, letting go, mental force. That puts a lot more context into this full moon, whereas we have been working so very hard to plan and to decide and to find ways to move forward. We've discussed this on the astrology shows with David. We've discussed this in the readings. That's setting your plans up, getting all your ducks in a row, all of that preparation work. Now it's time to do it. When you know there is that thing that you want to let go of, now is the time to let go of it. I know you'd normally say that new moons are good for letting go and full moons are about completion. And that's what I'm talking about, the completion of the letting go process that we have already started into motion. Now, as well as the 5-degree arc, The decans themselves are ruled by the Goetic spirits, the known as the 72 demons that Solomon summoned. Although I would question whether the term demon for them is actually fair. I think it's a bit harsh, but it's what they've been known as for at least 500 years, if not more. So by day, this is ruled by the Goetic spirit Berith. So, quoting from Michael Ford, in an initiatory context, Berith may be a tool in the understanding of self, including the alchemical process of turning of gold, i.e., coming into being more, strengthening your form, the fiery essence of self. Berith is proves to be a powerful Goetic servitor that you can summon to guard while going through some introspective rites. Now, we've been going through these introspective processes for, well, quite some time, let's be honest. And so again, it's rubber stamping that idea of, you knew you needed to let go of this thing, time to let go, time to put your plans into action, time to be you to the best of your ability. Now, by night, it is ruled by Flauros, or as I would know him, Horus. Now, he's one of the traditional 9 demonic divinities in traditional demonolatry, and he's described as typifying the perfect balance of physical, mental, and spiritual consciousness. So there's that, again, that coming into yourself and finding the whole, being true to yourself aspect, the whole this is who I know I am, and that bit there, I don't need it anymore, it's not me anymore, let's go, because I'm going along on this new path. Now, I am excited about this full moon also because of something that happened the day before. The day before, there was a near perfect 4 points of a pentagram in the sky. So let me just bring that up for you to see. Hopefully you'll be able to see the aspect lines, because they're quite faint. Solar Fire does them in a colour I find it really hard to see. But you notice the moon, Jupiter, Uranus, and Venus, which is a beautiful selection of planets. You've got the love and value of Venus, you've got the making things bigger of Jupiter, you have that emotional, in this term, it's what do I feel strongly about, and how can I make those things that I feel are beautiful in my life bigger? How can I make those things that I value in my life bigger? And then there's Uranus, which Uranus always causes upset, but on this particular point, I think if the unexpected occurs, it could only be bringing good news. Now, by the time we come to the full moon itself, you notice that near pentagram is split up into 2 sets of 3 3-pointed pentagrams. However, the solar fire doesn't do aspects, or at least I can't make it do aspects, to Black Moon Lilith. So we have Mars, Moon, and Black Moon Lilith taking action to heal hurt feelings, is how I'm reading that, and how I would want to read that. Bear in mind that Mars at the moment is being ruled by the Goetic spirit Beleth, who is, there's a certain sense of Beleth plays with time. There's a certain sense of immediacy here, but it's almost like you can take this energy and pocket it for a short while. And then the final three-pointed pentagram is, again, Venus, Uranus, Jupiter. So something unexpected about that which you value and can be made bigger, which I think is still beautiful, but especially coming off of that pentagram the day before. Now, I'm also very excited about this because the final point of that pentagram would be pretty much 4, 5, 6 degrees Libra. Guess whose moon is at 6 degrees Libra? So I am looking to take full advantage of such a beautiful astrological combination. Now let's just have a look before I go into the cards, because I got told off on comments about a long introduction to another reading that I did. So I don't want to waffle for too long, but the symbols of 3 degrees Capricorn and this full moon are also very interesting. I remember what really grabbed my attention is the Kosminski degree symbol, which is of Persephone rising gracefully from beneath to the upper world. The sun is shining and the surrounding country is rich in fields of corn, fruit, birds, flowers, whilst butterflies are sporting round her head. Now, I suppose according to the legend, that would not be directly true, because spring doesn't start until Persephone comes up and Ceres or Demeter goes, "Hi, you're back," and starts letting things happen. But it is still a beautiful image. So this is said to denote one of great power of endurance, who forces himself, ill or well, to brush away obstacles in the way of his desires. What was I saying about letting things go? There is here a combination of mental, moral, and physical force, bringing us back to the idea of that rulership of Ares. A trinity which carries the native through danger and conditions most adverse. At birth, the soul is rising from the shadows, and as life advances, the temples of enchanting lights are reached, and constancy begets deathlessness. It is a symbol of perseverance. So, if you haven't started your 2021 plans, your post-2020, post-eclipse, post-great conjunction plans, get moving. Now is the start. So let's have a look at the Sapharial degree symbol, which is of a Vestal lamp burning brightly, an indication of an elevated and superior mind given to the study of things that are essentially spiritual. There's that other part of Ares dominion here. There are aspiration and intuition in a superior degree. That's not easy to say. And such a one will probably seek and find in the silence of his own chamber the key to many of the higher mysteries of life and thought. So again, it's that looking internally, expressing externally. As within, so without. This is, do not let this full moon energies go to waste. Now, the Chandra symbol, or the inside degree symbol, is more curious, but I really like it, because you will hear all the New Agers, and I get very bored with the New Agers, and with the New Age, sorry. That's not the New Agers, the New Age, because it's, oh, we're living in such a special time. We are always living in such a special time. If you are living, it is a special time. Certainly for you and to a point globally, but we cannot deny there's big global things going on. So we have all been training for this moment. So Capricorn 4, the 4th degree of Capricorn, i.e. 3 degrees Capricorn. The Chandra symbol is footprints in the snow. And it's talking about how you are following your own footsteps. In the last previous lifetime, you set into motion a very full karmic momentum. which only got to midstream. This time, you first recapitulate the previous patterns and then set out where they lead. All of it, every step feels fated, inevitable. It is an uncannily strong inward impression. Yet, in order to permit the soul of this lifetime some measure of autonomy and freedom, this knowledge is held in the superconscious mind, and you can then cast about as though nothing had happened before, if you want, except that the inward instincts direct you in a predetermined course. And the lessons and the scenes are so very familiar. So blah, 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 when the individual karma is this strong. But we know this. I mean, let's be honest. If you're watching one of my readings and watching tarot readings on YouTube and all the other stuff, we know that we have practiced for this. And even if you accept like Dolores Cannon's 3 waves of volunteers, we have been practicing for this. And the no, this is the Omega symbol, I think. As a cliff erodes, a temple is in danger of collapsing. Now, okay, there's a tower imagery, tower card imagery there, but there's also it also talks about that Saturn-Uranus square we've got going on. The description to this says it needs change. And when they do, structures that may have depended on a long time, that may have been depended on for a long time, need to change as well to meet these new needs. That's it, needs change. Right, that makes sense. This is what this degree is aware of. It taps into the undercurrents of feeling and can see how those things are eroding the landscape of human thought. At its best, it's capable of suggesting means of change that take into the account the long range and which are practical. And again, we have practiced for this. Can you tell I'm really excited about this? I never thought I'd be excited about a Capricorn thing, but when you look, everything that Capricorn threw at us last year, the Jupiter-Pluto conjunctions, the building up to the great conjunction with the Saturn-Pluto conjunction, various other things, eclipses last year and all that. This is beautiful. This is Pluto, who's there in Capricorn, going, okay, here is the end of it. Now, bear in mind, this full moon is a long, long away from Pluto. Pluto's at 26 degrees. The full moon's at 3 degrees. So it's co-present by sign. But Pluto's allowed everything to come full circle. And it's almost like he stepped to one side and said, there you go. I've done my work now. You crack on with starting the new things. And I will just check your work as you go past. But everything will be fine. Don't worry. You crack on with it. And so that's what I want to say with this full moon. Whatever it is, you crack on with it. There's all this creative energy around with Venus quintile Uranus, Venus quintile Jupiter. There's all this healing energy around with the quintiles between the moon, Mars and Lilith. There's that, especially if you've got early degrees of Libra planets, there's that energy from the pentagram the day before. This cannot be a bad thing if you take advantage of it, but you take advantage of it with self-knowledge. You take advantage of it after having really dug down on the inside and saying, is this what I want? Is this a bit of me I still want to be? What do I need to let go of? And let's already make sure that this full moon is the final letting go of those things. They will come back again. Of course they will. They will come back again for you to be able to walk straight past them and say, no, I've let go, I don't care. Because that's how it works. You know, they so when all these things that you've let go of pop their head up again in like 1, 2, 3 months, years time, it is there to say, huh, have you let go? Really? And if you use this full moon energy right, the answer is a resounding yes. Yes, I have. Now, this is before I've done the show with David, so that's how I'm reading the full moon, purely on the basis of the angels and the demons that are involved here, and some of the aspects, but minor aspects. We'll see what David makes of it. In the meantime, I'll bring your cards up in a second. If you want a personal reading, don't forget that Facebook link. Please feel free to share the video because it helps, and press the like button because it helps YouTube notice I exist, which I'm not sure it has yet, really. In the meantime, yeah, let me bring up the cards. Okay, Sagittarius, as you heard in the introduction, this top row represents the masks the archons are wearing to keep you suppressed in whatever way, shape or form that means. And the bottom row represents the gods who are lifting you up towards your divine sense, self, purpose, union with God, however you want to look at it. So, we start with the archontic masks with Osiris with renewal, Thanatos with death, Sheila Nagig with gateways, Laertes with faithfulness, and Nyx with respite. The story that I'm initially seeing there, certainly in reaction to what I'm seeing underneath, is something breaks. Something does not work anymore. Something needs repairing. Something you are being given the invitation to repair, reform, something that it's just not working anymore. It's broken, it's duff, it's dead. And you are being encouraged to be loyal to this thing that is dead and gone. And you are almost being shrouded in darkness, saying, okay, that's dead, we need a new one. We need to do it again. We need to fix it. We need to, it's always worked, therefore it's always going to work when we get one that works. But I would question what you have to do to make this thing work. I would say, nah, do you really want to go down that path? Is that who you want to be? And this is what the shadow side here of Sheila Nagig with gateways is telling me, because Laertes representing faithfulness to this thing that needs renewing, needs repairing, needs restoring. And in a way, Nyx here representing respite. You're working in the darkness, and it's the lazy way of doing it to try and repair this thing rather than replace it with something totally new. So the god's on your side, and this is why I'm going on the level. And also the last two readings have been showing sort of like this inevitable change that is coming across. The Libra and Scorpio have had to deal with in specific ways. So here, you'll be pleased to know that if Libra and Scorpio are working in their own ways, to Scorpio to deal with an obstacle, Libra to cope with a specific change, you may well be a voice of how to solve it, how to do it new, because this change is here. We have Freya with irresistibility. She's been very popular with this full moon appearing in this position, to be quite honest. This is definitely the third and I think possibly the fifth reading in which she appears here. But we start off with the Norse god Ul, who is about laser sharp focus. So whatever this thing is that's broken, don't fix it. Look for another way to solve whatever the problem is. It's a bit like saying the coal, you could put it very simply as the coal power station is broken, don't build a new coal power station, get wind and solar up and running. That's an extreme, but that's that same sort of vibe that I'm feeling here. Because even when I just first put that Osiris card down and I noticed it said renewal, well, I mean, I knew it, but my very first instinct was, oh, you don't want to do that. It just creates the same issue over and over again. We're looking for a different solution here, one that Gaia here, the mother, and Gaia here with creation. The interesting thing, Sagittarius, is that by your focus, by your dredging through all the resources and dredging through, I mean, Pluton, in a way, you could say he's about hidden wealth. So you have a wealth of ideas. You have, it could be that there are hidden resources that you are bringing to bear to solve the whatever this thing is. Because let's face it, if there was a thing, that thing had a use. And if that thing is broken, that use is no longer being performed. Now, it could be that that use is no longer relevant. But what I'm feeling from here is that that use probably still is relevant, but you need a new way of doing it, a new way of fulfilling that end, a new way of performing that task, whatever it means. Because this new way, these two cards landed face up, the Gaia and Fortuna. This is fated, which is why I'm linking it to the Libra and the Scorpio readings, because there was that sense of fatedness anyway. And we have, yet again, Freya with irresistibility in the same position. So with Fortuna and Freya, yeah, you are definitely being thrust into a role where you are problem solving in a new way, in a way that creates a good harvest for you, is productive for you, and Skilla landed face down. So I'm rather thinking that these two cards are more important, but this one was important as well. So, Sagittarius, maybe you get to have a little bit of drama in a good way, which almost like you're going, ta-da, I have the solution. And now we hand over to my trusty assistants. So there's an element of spectacle. There's an element of a public eureka that comes from using something that's been hidden up until before. And it's been hidden because people have been very loyal to the way that this task or this issue or this role has been fulfilled up until this point. Right, let's see what the tarot have to say. The other reason that I think it's very, very fated, with Fortuna and Freya being that idea of fate, Gaia appearing twice, and let's face it, Gaia's bigger than us. What Gaia says goes. And we have Elamia with divine power here. So there's that sense of divine plan. Right, what we got? So when you are trying to renew this thing, even at that point, there's debate amongst people of like, do we really, really need to do this? And when you start problem solving, the focus is, it's fuzzy to start off with, because it's almost like every way you serve, every way you come up with solving a problem creates another problem in and of itself, or gives you an awareness of another problem that was there all along, maybe. But Gaia here, represented by the Empress. This is Queen of Wands on Freya. Ten of Swords on the Underworld. Right. You are able to bring things through from a secret place, from a dark place, from a hidden place. Yes, you've been working on shadow, but you can find things in that shadow and bring them to the light. Ten of Swords is giving me, with Pluton, is telling me that resources that were hidden are now no longer hidden. Maybe they're no longer being diverted. Maybe they're no longer being, like uncovering some corrupt drain of money somewhere. Oh, now I like that. We're finishing with the Page of Wands. And what that's telling me is this Page of Wands is on a swing. Page of Wands likes an adventure. It likes to set out. But here we've got a higher perspective. Page of Wands is a funny one because it's also almost, I always consider it to be a combination of air and fire, because it has that sense of information, data, that Page of Swords does, but there's a moving, go-getting attitude with it as well. I mean, if you think the Page of Swords is the Page of Wands, sorry, is the Knight of Wands in training. This is the Knight of Wands Squire, and there's, with a little bit of drama, you are able to create a whole new way of doing things that solves more problems than what you initially set out to solve. But basically, it's saying it's time to do it differently. Don't get stuck with doing it the same old way, because this is fated here. Is there anything else that I say? That's everything. That was short and sweet, wasn't it, Sag? Sorry about that. So, if it means anything to you, which may not yet, but comment down below. Do all that good YouTube stuff, like, share, subscribe, all of that business. Go and watch your moon and your rising. And also there'll be a link down below for the astrology show that I did with David. So yeah, see you at whatever reading or show I see you on next. And this is time for you to grab a spotlight, but you're going to have to put the work in. All right? Cheers.